Have you ever heard of a gem so beautiful, so mesmerizing, that it carries a deadly curse? Today, we're diving deep into the chilling history of the Hope Diamond. A jewel famous not just for its stunning blue color, but for the trail of misfortune, madness, and death that seems to follow its owners. Is it all just a coincidence, or is there a genuine curse at play? Let's find out. Our story begins in the 17th century, in the heart of India. Legend has it that the original, much larger stone was plucked from the eye of a statue of the Hindu goddess Sita. A French merchant and traveller named Jean-Baptiste Tavernier is said to have acquired the stone, a massive 112-carat blue diamond. According to the legend, the theft angered the gods, who placed a curse upon the diamond and anyone who would dare to possess it. Tavernier brought the gem back to France and sold it to King Louis XIV, the Sun King, in 1668. Soon after, the story goes Tavernier was torn apart by wild dogs during a trip to Russia. A dramatic end for our first victim, right? Well, historical records actually suggest he died of old age in Moscow. But hey, why let facts get in the way of a good story? King Louis XIV had the massive stone recut into a 67-carat gem known as the French blue. He wore it proudly, a symbol of his immense power and wealth. But did the curse strike the royal family? Well, Louis XIV reigned for 72 years, one of the longest in European history. However, tragedy did stalk his lineage. Almost all of his legitimate children and grandchildren died before he did, leaving his 5-year-old great-grandson to inherit the throne. Coincidence? Maybe. But the whispers of the curse grew louder. The French blue was passed down to Louis XV, and then to Louis XVI and his infamous queen, Marie Antoinette. We all know how their story ends. During the French Revolution, the monarchy was overthrown. Both Louis and Marie Antoinette were arrested while trying to flee, and they eventually met their fate at the guillotine. During the chaos of the Revolution in 1792, the French blue, along with the rest of the French crown jewels, was stolen from the royal storehouse. The magnificent diamond vanished without a trace for 2 decades. When a large blue diamond reappeared in London around 1812, it was in the possession of a diamond merchant named Daniel Eliasson. The stone had been recut, likely to disguise its origins, and was now a smaller, but still breathtaking 45.52 carats. This is the diamond we know today as the Hope Diamond. So, where did the name Hope come from? It wasn't from any sense of optimism, that's for sure. The diamond eventually found its way into the collection of Henry Philip Hope, a wealthy London banker, around 1839. The Hope family owned the diamond for decades, and this is where the stories of the curse really take off. Henry's nephew, Henry Thomas Hope, inherited the gem. His son, Lord Francis Hope, inherited the family's wealth, but was a notorious spendthrift and gambler. He married an American showgirl, May Yohei, who often wore the diamond. Their marriage was a disaster, and Lord Hope's lavish lifestyle drove him into bankruptcy. He was forced to sell the diamond in 1901 to pay off his massive debts. Mei Yohei later blamed the diamond for all their troubles, claiming it brought bad luck to everyone who touched it. She spent her later years in poverty, fueling the curse narrative for anyone who would listen. The diamond then passed through the hands of several dealers. One of them, a French broker named Jacques Collot, supposedly went insane and took his own life. Another owner, a Russian prince named Ivan Kanatovsky, was said to have been stabbed to death by revolutionaries after buying it. He allegedly lent it to a French actress who was shot and killed on stage the first time she wore it. A Greek jeweler who was selling the stone, Simon Mayancherides, drove his car off a cliff with his wife and child. These stories are incredibly dramatic, but many of them are hard to verify and were likely sensationalized or even completely fabricated by newspapers and jewelers to increase the diamond's mystique and value. The next major chapter in the diamond's cursed history begins with one of America's wealthiest women, Evelyn Walsh McLean. The flamboyant mining heiress and socialite bought the Hope diamond in 1911 from the famous jeweler Pierre Cartier. Now, Cartier was a brilliant salesman. He knew the curse stories would intrigue Evelyn, not scare her. He even added a clause to the sales contract stating that should any fatality occur to the family of Edward B. McLean within 6 months, the said Hope diamond is agreed to be exchanged for jewelry of equal value. Evelyn was fascinated by the curse. She believed that things that were unlucky for others would be lucky for her. She had the diamond reset into a stunning platinum necklace surrounded by other diamonds and wore it everywhere. She even let her Great Dane Mike wear the precious necklace at parties. For a while, it seemed she had beaten the curse. But then, tragedy struck. Her firstborn son, Vincent, was killed in a car accident at just 9 years old. Her husband, Edward Ned McLean, the owner of the Washington Post, descended into alcoholism, had a public affair, and was eventually committed to a mental institution where he died. The family newspaper went bankrupt. Then, in her later years, her daughter, Evelyn McLean, died of an overdose at age 25. Despite this staggering series of misfortunes, Evelyn herself never blamed the diamond. She owned it until her death in 1947. After Evelyn's death, her surviving children sold her jewelry collection to pay off her debts. The famous jeweler Harry Winston purchased the entire collection, including the Hope diamond. For the next decade, Winston exhibited the diamond around the world as part of his Court of Jewels tour, using it to teach the public about gems. Millions of people saw it, and surprisingly, no widespread catastrophes were reported. No curse seemed to follow the tours. Then, in 1958, Harry Winston made a decision that would change the diamond's destiny forever. He decided to donate the Hope diamond to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., but he didn't just hand it over. In a move that added one last legendary tale to its history, he sent the priceless gem to the museum through the regular U.S. mail. He wrapped it in a plain brown paper package, paid just a couple of dollars for postage and $1 million for insurance, and sent it on its way. The postman who delivered it, James Todd, reportedly suffered a series of misfortunes afterward. His leg was crushed in a truck accident, his wife died of a heart attack, and his house burned down. Another coincidence, or the curse's final act of defiance. Today, the Hope Diamond rests safely in the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History. It's one of the most popular exhibits, attracting millions of visitors each year who come to gaze at its deep, captivating blue hue. Since arriving at the museum, it has been a source of fascination and scientific study, not tragedy. Scientists have studied its unique properties, including its fiery red phosphorescence when exposed to ultraviolet light, a trait that adds to its otherworldly mystique. So, is the curse of the Hope Diamond real? When you look closely, many of the most dramatic stories are embellished or simply untrue. The curse narrative was heavily promoted by jewelers like Pierre Cartier to create buzz and by storytellers like May Yohei to explain their own life's failures. The chain of tragedies in Evelyn Walsh McLean's life is heartbreaking, but sadly not entirely uncommon for wealthy, high-profile families of that era. Yet, the sheer number of unfortunate events connected to the diamond's owners is hard to ignore completely. Whether it's a genuine supernatural curse, a string of incredible coincidences, or just a brilliant marketing ploy that has lasted for centuries, the legend of the Hope Diamond continues to captivate us. It's a story about beauty, greed, power, and the human tendency to find patterns in chaos. The diamond itself is just a stone, a piece of crystallized carbon, but the stories we've attached to it have given it a life and a legacy of its own. What do you think? Is the Hope Diamond cursed, or is it just a victim of its own fame? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this journey into one of history's most fascinating mysteries. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into incredible stories. See you next time.